Hello, my name is Yahya, and I'm here to speak about. جماعة في مشكلة أو حاجة. We need to sort it out. طب يا جماعة يعني خلينا نكمل discussion أو حاجة يعني. لا يا جماعة ده هزار إيه ده؟ Wow, this was such a mess, wasn't it? Now imagine this situation had lasted for the rest of the event, or a similar situation occurred somewhere, like the World Cup or the Olympic Games. What can we do? This fuss could luckily be predicted and therefore prevented by what we call predictive maintenance. Maintenance techniques in general are used for any part that is bound to degrade or suffer from a failure at some point. Examples for these parts are machines, tires, engines, circuits, or anything that will end up breaking down. So there are many types of maintenance, but the two previously well-known approaches are the reactive approach and the preventive one. Reactive maintenance is where we wait for the machine to die out, and then we start fixing it. While preventive maintenance, also known as scheduled maintenance, is when we have a certain schedule and we fix the machine accordingly, regardless its status. Now, with the evolution of machine learning techniques came our third method, which I believe to be the most powerful one, predictive maintenance. Predictive maintenance is a trend in machine learning used to predict when a failure will happen and react based on this in advance. This process is done in 3 steps. The first step is data collection, where we collect data from sensors from different machines that have had the same degradation type. One of the most important data entries that should be collected is the remaining useful lifetime of the machine. So we have our data in the form of a time series, which means we have our sensory data at different timestamps. So if we collect, sorry. So if we collect our sensory data at this specific timestamp, the remaining time till the machine's failure is considered to be our remaining useful lifetime. Then we pre-process our data, which involves choosing the most important features relevant to our problem. Pre-processing our data allows us to see which sensory data impacts and correlates the remaining useful lifetime of the machine. Then we train a model, for example, a neural network, to predict this rule. Think of it this way. We have sensory data correlated with the remaining useful lifetime, and our machine learning techniques are there to discover this correlation, mapping it into a function. This approach is called supervised learning, which requires us to have the data and their target value in advance. However, we can make use of the real-time data of the machine to detect any malicious behavior in an unsupervised approach. For example, inspecting such behavior in the sensory data of the machine can tell us that something went wrong, and this could be an indication that we should react. Now, enough theoretical talk. Let's take an example of what predictive maintenance can do and inspect our friend Lightning McQueen. Who here is a fan of cars? Well, I really am. Let's watch the video. If we had a machine learning model that was trained on tires from the same manufacturer, running on the same ground conditions, we could have easily predicted the remaining useful lifetime of the tires, calling Lightning for a pit stop to renew them. And we could have simply predicted this crash. I hope this gave you an intuition of what predicting and reacting is. But however, predictive maintenance isn't only about predicting tires. It goes beyond that. Predictive maintenance is used in aircrafts, where predicting a failure in advance is very crucial and could be a lifesaver. It's also widely used in applications such as power outage prevention, motor circuit analysis, oil industry, and manufacturing management. But now, let's get to the exciting part. What if these machines and parts we spoke about were actually humans? What if our friend Lightning McQueen isn't really a car, but rather a person like us? What if instead of collecting data from sensors, We collect them from our own body organs. This is our friend Ted. He was very kind and helpful. A student at his last year at university. Until one day, he felt sharp pain in his left shoulder. And tragically, Ted passed away from having a cardiac arrest. After this story, I couldn't stop seeing it except this way. What if we could apply the same concepts and algorithms we use on machines on our own organs? What if we can calculate the expected lifetime of each organ and detect any anomalous behavior that could lead to its failure? Doctors and researchers nowadays have a new vision for the future, a vision that is no more reactive, but rather predictive. In medical field, we no more call it predictive maintenance, but rather predictive healthcare or predictive medicine. Many researchers have been investigating the combined area of machine learning and medicine. Such combination can extensively improve our chances in treatment and living healthier. One example of predicting diseases in advance is cardiovascular disease prediction. 20.5 million people have passed away due to CVD in 2021. What if we can do something about it? Now here's the analogy. Here's how I see it. Data like blood sugar, blood pressure, age, cholesterol, and other data can be seen as the input data to our model. The model can then predict possible risks, and based on a certain threshold, doctors can react. Now, what if we can tune the algorithm a little bit to get the expected lifetime of hearts and transplant a new heart ahead of the failing one without the time pressure before it's too late? We can apply those concepts and algorithms on each and every organ in our bodies. Oko Health, a startup in the UK, they are focusing on researching our eyes. They've noticed that it's best to react to most of sight problems as early as possible. So they came up with this brilliant idea. Mobile games that utilizes game theory and data analysis to collect data from the eye and track its behavior. And using the same predictive algorithms, they can then recommend when it's best to have a doctor's appointment, leading to a much healthier sight. But imagine we can apply those concepts again on every other organ. Like, it's just the beginning. Imagine we can predict cancers at very early stages. We can detect any anomalous behavior at a genetic level. Now, what if we are even able to get the combined life expectancy of organs, to get the total life expectancy of a human? Wow, seems mind-blowing, but let's keep going. By having the mentioned techniques, we would have predicted. And now, it's time to react. Here's how I think of it. A customized machine learning model running in the background, collecting data from everywhere around you, thanks to the promising Internet of Things technologies. Data like your BMI, nutrition habits, heart rate, and every other piece of information related to you. The model can then handle possible risks. It provides you with a nutrition plan that best suits your habits, a vitamin plan just adjusted for your needs, even tells you what medicine you should use and what's the required dose. So it's basically adjusted for you and your needs. And so, if something goes wrong, if any anomaly is detected, it automatically books a doctor appointment or even calls the ambulance. Wouldn't this be crazy? Imagine having an in-depth analysis of your own body on your own phone with the total life expectancy of you. Now, side note, this is only a prediction and can never be an accurate measure, even if it has high accuracy rate. Now, something that came to my mind, imagine having those concepts serving football players on the pitch and predicting strains before they happen. A manager can then preserve his player ahead. Like, مش عارف بصراحة ده ممكن يشتغل معانا كمصريين ولا لأ، بس يعني خلينا نشوف. The possible applications of predictive algorithms in medical fields are endless, and especially when you consider the customized predictive healthcare applications, and they are truly mind-blowing. millions and millions of applications that would have a predictive rather than a reactive behavior. But with all this excitement in the air, I couldn't stop seeing it except this way. What if our technology advanced before other developments? That it could predict diseases that have no known cure. Imagine waking up one day, getting a notification on your phone that the software has discovered an unnatural behavior that has never been seen before. And it's a rapid degradation in your heart, and you have a life expectancy of 14 days. How would you feel? Me personally, I'd feel devastated. I'll spend the worst 14 days of my life. And this really triggers my mind. It causes me to think a lot. It's for some reason we don't know everything in advance. It's actually good to know, but not to know everything. You shouldn't be an algorithm yourself calculating each and every possible outcome to choose the best, because sometimes there is simply no best. And in such case, such technology that was there to make your life easier would be the main reason for your collapse. I don't know. Collapse. I don't know exactly where are we going, but I'm curious to see. I'm curious. What do you think about it? Are we creating the next nuclear bomb? Are we making the same mistake as Oppenheimer? Are we creating the next chain reaction, but in terms of a machine learning software? Are we really making our lives easier, or we are just transforming the hardships from one form to another? Is it always good to know everything, or is it sometimes to have a white space? Thank you.